Hi everyone, welcome back to WHU TV. My name is John, your host as always. Apologies for the crowd noise coming out, that wasn't intended. That's what should have happened when Bonner scored. But let me just take that off. Right, so welcome back, guys. Hope you're all doing okay. As always, this video is sponsored by the channel sponsor. Forget that because that's completely thrown me out now. It's sponsored by the channel sponsor 3retro.com. Please click the link in the description below. You guys know the old spiel. There's some very nice graphics of what's available. So I hope you're all keeping all right. Guys, I've not been keeping all right, to be completely honest with you. I hope you guys can all hear me still. But yeah, no, I've not been keeping all right. I've had ever since Monday night with all the anxiety that was coming from and the stress that was coming from sorting that stream out. I've really had a tough week. Really have had a tough week. You know, it's been very, very difficult. As you guys remember, the whole point of when the daily live chats was to make sure that everybody's keeping sane. And you know, I've had time off work because of it. Quite frankly, my anxiety's been really bad. My body's been shaking all over the place. You've not been able to tell over from last night's stream, and the Patreons, Rick, Tony and Andrew Miles and Wally, you'll be able to see the preview of the Man United game that's now up on Patreon, so have a look at that. And thank you guys very much for your monthly pledge. It's nice to get close to 20 quid from you guys to support me. Hope you're all right. Hope you guys are okay. Good evening, Rick. Good evening, Irish Tommy. Good evening, Kent. Good evening, Tony. Thank you all for joining me, as I say. But so just to put it out now, if I sound like I'm a lit on edge, is because I am. My anxiety has been really bad the last few days. As I say, I've been have to taken off work as a result of it. Doing the content for you guys has been keeping me sane. It really has. And Kieran, good evening, mate. And but as I say, so as I say, if I appear on edge tonight, or there's any parts of anywhere where I'm sounding like I'm getting a bit anky, just it's not intentional. It's just my anxiety is very high. Good evening, Gary. Hope you're all right, mate. Okay, so with that disclaimer out of the way, I just obviously want to focus on the fact that, you know, two big names we've lost in the last 7 days, sadly. I mean, obviously we talked about Maradona when he passed on, but Papa Diop, you know, had a long-term illness. It wasn't disclosed what it was, unfortunately, or fortunately from his point of view, his family's point of view, I should say. But he played centre midfield for us and defensive midfield as well. We're just basically going to go through it because there may be some people that don't actually know who he is all that well. So I just want to go through it line by line, really. He had when he actually played for quite a lot of teams in the UK. I mean, Kent will be able to back me up, and thank you, Kent. Your support means a lot, mate. Thank you. He had 76 appearances for Fulham between 2004 and 2007 and scored 8 goals. Not bad for a defensive midfielder, to be fair. Not bad at all. 53 appearances for Portsmouth between 2007 and 2010. Didn't have any assists or goals from what I can see. For 16 appearances with West Ham in the relegation season in the Championship 2011 to 2012. Scored the goal at Barnsley at home in that January fixture. And also had an assist in Borough away as well, for that matter. And Birmingham City, he went on from us, had 2 appearances and scored 1 goal. So he had a great job for Birmingham. He had 63 appearances for Senegal as well, and 11 goals. So, you know, it was lovely to see Lookman when he scored against Leicester on Saturday, that he held up the Papa Diop Senegal shirt as a commemorative way of saying thank you to him. That's a very touching thing to see. I absolutely loved it. Irish Tommy says Papa did a great job for us in our promotion season in the Championship. Rest in peace, Papa. Totally agree with you, mate. Gary says, you were here for us in the first lockdown. We're here for you now, our friend. Thank you very much, mate. As I said on many occasions, especially when we got up to over 1,700, and it looks like it's sticking this time. You guys make this channel what it is. You know, you make this. You interact, all your interactions. The ironic thing is 18 months ago, I hated doing live streams. I absolutely despise them. It used to send my anxiety all over the shop. It really did, because I was so nervous doing the watch alongs. I'm still shit at it, but you guys come back every time and watch along. It was every single time, and these live streams as well. Doing the dailies and the weeklies has actually turned it around on its head. To be completely honest with you, it's really turned it around on its head. Where I now doing content for you guys, including doing live. Excuse me. It's including going live, actually calms me down now. It's weird. The last 18 months, my psychology's reversed for a lot of things. And as I say, it's good evening, Steve. Nice to see you, mate. But yeah, I hope you're doing all right. But as I say, yeah, you guys make the channel. You really, really do. Thank you, Tony. Thank you very much for your support. And Bill from Garage Football's in. Bollocks, Ella Geese, 42 years old, gone far too young. Rest in peace, Papa Bua Diop. Okay, so guys, after this broadcast, we'll try and cut it down to just under an hour, because I'm going to be joining Bill on Garage Football, where we're going to talk about a quite open question, to be honest with you, a question that's open to interpretations, surely, where we all think West Ham can finish. So because there's it's going to be an interesting conversation, because you can answer that question in 3 ways. So go check them out, guys. Go and watch Garage. Go and watch the conversation. It should be quite entertaining. Anyway, and of course, on Sunday we lost David Prowse at 85. He's most famous for, especially with the current generations, he's most famous for being the guy in the suit for all the Star Wars movies with as Darth Vader. Every single one of them. I think he was even one of the ones when I think he was in the what was that dodgy sequel prequel thing just before New Hope. That was that was good going. But he's also he also had an OBE. He was a 3-time British weightlifting champion, and I remember him a lot more than as a youngster. Exactly, Tony. Just exactly as I was about to say, mate. The Green Cross Crowd man. Not the most attractive of blokes, God rest his soul, but very, very famous for being for the look. Look twice, look left, look right, look left again. Sorry, look right, look left, look right again. That was very, very. I absolutely loved him for that. We all grew up with that, and Tony, as I say, is a little bit not that much older than me, and he remembers that as well. So, yeah, a lot of lovely memories. Now, and Kieran says that takes him back. Yeah, mate, it takes me back whenever he's a huge man, huge man, and very, very Cornish as well. So, from one point of view, it's quite good that James L. Jones came in and did the Darth Vader voice. Otherwise, Luke, I'm your father. He's a Cornish guy. He would go rest his soul. So he would have been. The Force is strong in this one. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Tony says, "Told you, us ugly ones. I remembered I talk from experience." But yeah, now because I did get to see say for all the problems I was having on Monday night, I didn't get to watch all of the West Ham against Villa game. I watched all of it yesterday. So this is me to give you my proper post-match reaction to it. Yeah, terrible refereeing from Banks. Really, really don't understand how Jack Grealish was staying on the pitch why he wasn't being booked for simulation. I know there's a bit of an argument about him hitting Fornals with one leg and holding down the other, but he doesn't actually. In his defence, he doesn't go in with his left leg, because they're both like that. He hits there and then he holds that leg as he falls down. So I think people have been overly critical, but I'm not defending him in any shape or form. Scott, welcome back, mate. Welcome back. Irish Tommy says, hand on heart, I've never seen a Star Wars film. Fair enough, not it's not for everybody. If you get to watch them, if you like westerns, it's basically a sci-fi or fantasy version of a western. That's what it was all based on. It was based on the westerns, and was it Buck Rogers? Yeah, it's Buck Rogers originally. The old 50s cinema reels that you used to get before the main films. That's what Star Wars was originally nicked from, basically. But yeah, very entertaining films. Obviously a little bit dated now with some of the language and the haircuts, of course. But yeah, very, very good films nonetheless. Tony, leave him alone. Kieran says, remember Pop Robson coming to our school? Tony, that shows his certainly does show your age, mate. Scott's never seen a Star Wars movie either. Yeah. We was only good for 10 minutes, but better be lucky team than a good unlucky team. But it is better to be a lucky team than a good team. Good unlucky team. I mean, it's, as I say, we had our moments. It was worrying. It was worrying watching the heads drop when Grealish had scored. I mean, all that space he was given. Again, how many guys, for those that have been watching it on this channel on a regular basis for the watch-alongs for the last season, where are we? Season and a half, give or take. How many times, and even the conversations I had with Nicky outside the London Stadium at West Ham Fan TV, how many times have I criticised our spacing and our timing? It's unbelievable. I mean, and that was an example of the old West Ham, and I'm generally worried about Man United, which you'll see from the preview. For those, for Tony, Rick, Andrew, you guys will get to see the preview now on Patreon, but tomorrow from 7:00. It will be live on YouTube, not live, but it'll be available on YouTube, I should say. But you never know, James. But I say, well, I want to know what your thoughts are, because a lot of people, to be honest with you, not a huge amount of people have been watching them, but the majority of people, with the exception of Darren, who puts the same comment on all the time, does say that he just says nice video, come on your irons, or thanks for the updates as it comes to the when it comes to the Fantasy League roundups. But talking of Darren, I did say that I'll give his son a shout out, because it's Rick's it's Richie's 14th birthday on Friday. Yeah, 14th birthday on Friday. Just checking the message to make sure I got it right. So guys, in the live chat, because I'm sure that Richie and Darren might be watching this replay. By all means, please wish Richie a happy birthday. He was the first ever customer of WHU TV when I launched the t-shirts a couple of years ago. He's the first ever customer. He's a great lad. He's doing brilliantly in the Fantasy League. Unbelievable. He's been, for the last couple of weeks, last 3 or 4 weeks, he's been floating around the top 4. He's absolutely making his dad look terrible. He's making all of us look terrible, to be honest with you. He's currently second in the Fantasy League. So guys in the chat, please wish Richie a happy 14th birthday for Friday. Now, as we talked about during the live stream, it was announced that Arcadia is going into an administration. The company that owns Topshop, probably Top Man as well, and Debenhams and House of Fraser. I think it is House of Fraser. Or anyway, it's been confirmed that 12,000 jobs are at risk at the Debenhams store, because every single Debenhams store is going to close. So yeah, it's worrying times. It's worrying times. It's only going to get worse between now and when the tiers come that closing. Was it probably February, March time? Let's see what you guys. Kent says he's not worried about Man U. Okay, fair enough, mate. I understand the reasons why, but I've always got my concerns. The West Ham fan of me always worries. Bearing in mind we haven't lost for 3.5 years, almost 4 years at the London Stadium to Man United. That's what I'm more worried about. Irish Thomas says, we've been largely outplayed in the last 3 games. Totally agree. The Sneaks are winning all of them. Yep, it does worry me a bit. Yeah, it does. Because we were very, very fortunate that Lookman had a terrible penalty. We were very, very fortunate that even though it was harsh, of Watkins is offside, it's good that we've seen consistency in that side of things, because if what's his name? The Leicester player, the Leeds player Patrick Bamford, if him pointing his arm out saying where he wants the ball is going to be considered offside, bearing in mind the ball bounced at roughly about the same sort of time, then it's good consistency from that side of things, to see that we're we're gonna that the referees are making those decisions rightly or wrongly. It's a bit weird. I have to sort that out post. Okay, so where else are we? Because the chat's rolling a little bit. James asks, how many penalties have we given away this season? It feels like we have given one in every 3 games. It's about right, actually, mate. It's about right. About right. Yeah, it's about right. Tony says, the thing if we can play as we have been and get the results, we have either improved in being stronger defensively or luck is on our side. Yeah, luck is certainly on our side at the moment. How long that's going to be is another matter. Kent wishes Richie happy birthday. James says, Debenham is such a huge firm, you would never have predicted it. Agreed. Tony wishes Richie a happy birthday as well. Kent says Mike actually owns House of Fraser, I believe. Yeah. There's something about actually giving money to one of the companies as a float, which is quite good of him, to be fair. I mean, it's unusual that he does things selflessly, but it is quite good that he's doing it from that side of things. Sorry about this, guys. I'm just fixing the chat screen. It's looking a bit strange, so bear with us on this. It's going to go back to default for a little while, but let me just see if I can transition it and see if it can refresh it. Hang on. Can we refresh that? Nah, it's not coming up properly, unfortunately. So I'm not gonna muck around with it. You know what my luck's like with this bloody thing. But I'll read them out anyways as it comes. James wishes Richard happy birthday, as does Ben. Welcome, Ben. Hope you're alright. Tony says Ashley's offered around 50 million to buy them, apparently. Well, yeah. Kieran and Rick have wished them a happy birthday as well. Tommy says United have been very good away from home this season, so this will be a very tough game for us. Yeah, it will. You know, they're up there, as I said in the preview. They've won 3, drawn 1, and lost 1 the same way that we have. So yeah, it's certainly going to be an interesting one. There you go. Yep, sorted it all out, guys. There you go. All your comments are back up. There we go. Figured out how to do it. What I was thinking. Kieran says 8 away wins on a trot for Man U. I'm worried. Yep, don't blame you in any shape or form. But we'll obviously. I want your thoughts on the preview when that goes live as well, guys. Now, as I said, the tiers are going to be lasting till about February, 3rd of February. That's what's predicted. But bearing in mind that the vaccine that's been approved, the Pfizer vaccine, there's 800,000 doses will be available from next week. It's not going to sort everybody out straight away. It's going to be, you can't give 800,000 out to every single person within a few days. It's not going to happen. Logistically, it's impossible. I mean, you guys, I don't really agree with a lot of what the government says on a few things, but with this, you can't disagree with them. You really can't, because you can't. You genuinely can't send stuff out like that to to loads of we can't send stuff like that out to the GPs and everything. It's gonna be a logistical nightmare at the best of times to try and get things in for people, much less as things are now. But it's the first step in the right direction. It was confirmed again, as we talked about the other week, that you need 2 injections with 3 weeks apart. So it's going to take a long, long time. And Kent's just back to me up there. So reviewed on the 16th, every 2 weeks, I think it is. So yeah, well, obviously we talk about that when there's more information available. But yeah, so. This is one of the many to come positives about not being in the EU, because we govern ourselves now. We have been governing ourselves since the start of the year, regardless of the trade because what basically has been going on with the EU talks at the moment, the Brexit talks with the EU, is literally down to the fact that what that's all about is the UK are still trying to figure out the remaining countries, how we're going to be able to have deals. You know, I was reading today that there's about 70 odd, was it 75, 76 countries that we normally deal with. We've got trade deals in place which hasn't been reported properly for 50 countries out of 70 odd. It's not bad going. It's not bad going for a couple of years worth of deals. So this is all the this is where I will say the fear mongering about all the whole Brexit stuff, because we are getting deals done with countries. We are genuinely doing it, and this is one of the reasons, because we don't have to apply to the EU to get these out, get all these doses out. We've been able to get approval straight away because the Home Office went, yep, fine, absolutely, not gonna, by all means do it. So it's really, really good. It's going to be really good, and it's not the only Brexit thing we're going to talk about either. For that reason, tonight. I mean, you guys know I don't like to talk about Brexit until there's actually something to talk about, and which there is. There's quite a lot to talk about, which will come up, but it's still all football related as well. James says the reason he brought up the penalties is Man U win a lot of them, and that's the only way I see him doing this for some reason. Yeah, totally valid point. Valid point, mate. Totally valid point. James says, remember that the Pfizer vaccine, a few more are up for approval this week, so things are really looking up. As I said, yeah, it's been confirmed. It's been confirmed today that it was literally on the parliamentary broadcast that 800,000 are going to be available. So yeah, but yes, they are. It's the first step, absolutely. Steve Hill says, how many fans we got Saturday, John, allowed into the stadium? Now, Tony, you're absolutely right. It said it should be, but I guarantee it won't, because a lot of people, we talked about this when it came out a couple of weeks ago. Rhoda and Tony, hello mate, hello guys. I'll come to you what you're saying in a minute. But Steve, it's up to 2,000 fans. It's up to. It could be 1,864, could be 1,958. We have absolutely no idea. It's down to the club's discretion, along with the guidelines of the government. That's why all the articles were saying that it's up to 2,000 for tier 2, up to 4,000 for tier 1, which at the moment doesn't exist from what I'm seeing. So it's, yeah, that's the count, that's the maximum, but it's not the be all and end of all of it. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I don't think you were here, Steve, for that conversation. But yeah, it's at the club's discretion. We'll find out tomorrow to a degree. Any of the season ticket holders that paid in full that haven't exempted themselves should be getting an email telling them if they are going to be available. Now what happens with this, as I was reading it for the website, is that you should get an email, which I've got issues with, because I never get emails from West Ham. Hardly ever get emails from West Ham. Now, as I say, I excluded myself because of my asthma, so I don't expect to be going at any season. I really, really don't. Any games this season, I should say. But we should be getting an email. We'll only be getting an email according to the website if we are successful in the ballot, and the ticket will be digital. They won't be posting it out. So my argument with this, as I was talking to Marshy yesterday morning, I think it was. Where are we? Yeah, yesterday morning. My argument with this is, why charge admin fees? You know, it's ridiculous. Excuse me. Right, so Rhoda says, if United lose tonight because they're in the Champions League, there will be 3 teams on 9 points in their group, or Jimmy, in their group, which would make midweek game next week massive for them, and I feel that may help us on Saturday. Thoughts? Absolutely, totally. Again, as I said in the preview, which obviously you guys haven't seen yet, I did say that, because obviously the injury reports are being available, saying that pretty much everybody bar 2 players are going to have latent fitness tests. So it's only Phil Jones and Bailey that are definitely not going to be playing this fixture on Saturday. For everyone else, it could have wallop. You know, it could have this, it could have that. You know, it depends. Yeah, Solskjaer has said that he wants to win the qualifier as quickly as possible. Totally agree with him. Totally see his point. But yeah, things could absolutely be done. It could be John Wall. Hello, mate. Good to see you. I haven't heard from you for a while. Hope things are okay. Not really. You get to see when I talked about I've got really bad anxiety levels at the minute, mate. He's in hospital at the moment, but still taking in your content. Thank you very much, John. That means a lot, man. That really, really means a lot. It's very, very, very kind of you, and I hope you're okay in hospital. Of course, let us know. Tony says Luton Town only having 1,000 tonight as the grounds are around lots of houses, so they're being safe for their own reasons. Totally agree. Kent says I will be on that vaccine as soon as he can. Yep, we should really, if it's offered to us, we really should take it. Because it's going to be doing everybody else good, not just ourselves. Kent says he can't go. He's in tier 3. I'm loving the fact the little West Ham, the little John, the little where are we? The little castles on there. I love that. That looks quality. That really, really looks quality. Have to do more of those, mate. Have to do more of those. James says also, what's stopping that digital ticket being sold on? That will stop track and trace. This is the thing, James. If you watched the website, read the website, or watched Gonzo and Gio's very, very good video about it, you have to prove your identity. You have to take photo ID with you to go. So it's going to stop. James is going to stop that straight away. Absolutely, it's going to annihilate that thinking. But I know where you're going with it, mate. I know exactly where you're going with it. Kent says, not anyone has a smartphone as well, John. My mate hasn't. If he was allowed to go, he wouldn't be able to use the digital ticket. Well, that's the point. He won't be in there anyway because he's tier 3. But I know what you mean. It does say that it is a bit of an ignorance from the club's point of view, because they are kind of thinking that everybody's in line with technology. As you said, not everybody is, Kent. I don't have a printer. I'm very lucky that, sometimes you need a printer to send things out. If you want to send things by courier and all that sort of thing. But yeah, yes, everybody, the majority of people do have smartphones. But yeah, totally agree. But yeah, not everyone. They're two totally different things. Kieran says, hope you're okay, John. I am better. Thank you, Kieran. I did say at the start before you joined that doing these live streams and doing content for you guys lowers my anxiety levels, especially the live streams lower the anxiety levels, and as a result of it, it's kind of switched my moods around because I'm more anxious off camera now than I am on. It used to be the other way around. But Ben says get well to John, and quite right. We're all wishing you well, mate. We are all wishing you well. Now, also one of the things we talked about this the other week. Last week I think it was. Sorry, guys. Steve, would you start Allaire on Saturday as Antonio did not look fit against Villa? Yes, I would. Details in the preview. But yeah, it wasn't fit enough. It was a risk. It's a big risk. For those that were able to watch the first of the 4 attempts of me doing the live watch along on Monday, it was. If I did say at the start of it was a big risk starting Antonio. So even though he's fit to play, I'm hoping he's going to be on the bench. I love the guy to bits, but yeah, you can't risk him, especially against Man United. God no, you can't have one player not fully fit enough against Man United. That's a big gamble. If David Moyes does do it, big mistake. Excuse me. But anyway, so we talked last week about obviously the 2000s and fans coming back. But I did say that the clubs were looking to try and do 5-digit value fans going in, and WHU put up an article about exactly that the other day, saying that the Hammers are preparing for 16,500 fans to return. West Ham hope to have 16,500 fans back in the London Stadium once the government lifts the current tiered restrictions, which limit Tier 2 areas to just 2,000 supporters. However, that proposal remains in the balance, with MPs due to vote on the issue of the House and Commons this week. It was voted the other day, with some reports suggesting mass revolt by Tory MPs and Labour to announced his position. Yes, it was. But yeah, what they did, they did have a bit of it was a bit of a heated debate in the House of Commons about it. To be honest, guys, it really was a bit of a heated debate, from what I'm reading and what I saw of some of the broadcast. But yeah, we're starting. It's starting. You know, they've agreed to impose the tiers that they are and everything else. So, we did talk about that quite a fair bit. Kent brought up a topic just now that I wanted to talk to you guys about, because if you watch the video that I did with Marshy, we talked about this 2 weeks ago, because there's a lot of rumours been floating around about Moyes getting a new contract. Kent just put that up in the chat now, so we might as well talk about it. Obviously, he said to Sky before the game, or the pre-match conference before the on was it Thursday or Friday, whenever he did it, that he's aiming for a top 8 finish this season. I don't think he's going to get a new contract now, Kent, to be honest with you, because I know the club was very hesitant about giving any manager a revised contract before the end of the contract, because of the whole thing that happened with Allardyce. They gave him a revised contract, and then we were getting really, really worrying results. Not saying that Allardyce and Moyes are the same manager. They're similar. They are very, very similar. But yeah, it is worrying. It is worrying none the least. But at the same point, it's I would be happy with Moyes having a new contract. I still think it's too early. Yes, all right, we're on a great run of form, but we're not even a third of the way through the season yet. And it's the wrong time. It really is the wrong time to talk about a contract. Maybe January, when everybody else's contracts are being discussed. That's probably the better time, in my opinion. That's my opinion on it, guys. Let me know what yours is. Kent has said he deserves a new deal, 2 years with an option of a third. I'd give him his stock. I'd give him that. His stock is very high now. We are running a risk. We're running a risk no matter what. I'd say January for me. I genuinely would, because if we're still floating around the top 10, which I see no reason why we shouldn't be. But if we're still floating around the top 10 by January, then that's the time that I would give Moyes a new contract. I wouldn't do it just yet. I know 5-6 weeks difference, but that is a long time in football. A long, long time. James says Moyes' attitude is very different to Big Sam. Agreed. I think he would be happy to wait. Again, agreed. He seems to have really bought into the culture. Yeah, because he treats West Ham as what West Ham are. He treats it as a big small club, or a small big club, whichever way you want to look at it. That's how he treats it. And we've had grandiose ideas from previous managers, and that they haven't worked out. So having that in place, then yeah. Rick, by the way, what were your thoughts of Peter Banks on Monday? Now he's only had 12. He's only refereed, was it 12 games beforehand, or it was his 12th game? So he's a little bit inexperienced, but it'd be interesting to see what Rick says on that, because if I remember correctly, his comment was quite funny. Now we talked about Brexit in terms of getting the all clear for the pass, for the hang on, see what James is saying. I'll comment about it in a minute. Or they may need to sort out his contract, because some players might not resign until they know who the manager resign. Sorry, resign. That's, I think, resign. Sorry, until they know who the manager will be. Well, there's very very good chance that it's going to be Moyes next season. Very very good chance, because they'll all be, because he'll have his contract negotiations now. That's what Sky are really talking about. His contract negotiations will start now, and they'll probably offer him the contract and everything properly in January. Kieran says he may deserve a new contract, but I personally still can't accept him. I think you mean accept rather than accept him as our long-term manager. Kieran, mate, who's a better manager to get than we've got at the moment? As I've said on many occasions, he's not the manager I wanted but you can't knock his results. You can't knock his results. You couldn't knock Allardyce's results. There will come a time. There will come a time when he will get, as Kent has just been saying, he's he's talking about Banks. Ben says, yeah, wait for January to come around. Banks' comment says he was utter pony, didn't understand the game and lost control of the game. Totally, absolutely. I don't think he really was in control in the first place, mate, to be honest with you. But yeah, Tony says, Moyes been given the opportunity to express himself and get the players, and you can see the difference from when he first came back. Well, yes and no, Tony. His first stint, I said he deserved it. His first stint, I said he deserved having a new contract. Because I thought it was very harsh that they didn't renew it. He did everything absolutely well, but the club gambled. The club gambled. John says, is it not new deal coming his way because there are a few Scottish teams need a new manager? This comes on around quite nicely to the Brexit thing, mate. Now, there's brand new rules for the transfers, which aren't really that new, if I'm honest with you. Aren't really that new. Basically, what it is the fact that there is going to be some big changes. Big changes to the site, the way it's going to be held, because basically, like with every other player outside the EU, which of course will now be part of things ourselves, they have to get what is known as a governing body endorsement, which is basically in proposal, which is basically the visa, the working permit that we all know about, from January, and also I'm trying to find where it says. So that the excuse me, the work application will use a point system based on senior and youth international appearances, the same as it currently is. Quality of the serving club based on the league they are in, league position and progression in continental competition. Again, same as it is. Club appearances based on domestic league and continental competition minutes as well. Now there's something in here that where is it? Players accumulating the requisite amount of points will earn the working permit automatically, while players just below the threshold may be considered for the GBE by an exceptions panel. The system meets the joint objectives of the Premier League and the FA, allowing access to the best players and the future talent for clubs, as well as safeguarding England teams by ensuring opportunities for homegrown players. Now, this is the thing. I'm trying to find where it says in the article. Where is it? Right, so basically, it's not in this article, but basically, I remember reading it, that they can only buy a maximum of 3 players, foreign players in January, which is forcing every single club to look in the lower leagues, which is exactly, or their academies, which is exactly what they should be doing. They should be doing this all the time. They should absolutely be doing this. They should have been doing this for years. We've all been asked, asking for a recall of a few things, about wage caps and all that sort of stuff. But it's interesting to have that with. I'm looking forward to it because apparently throughout a full season they can only sign, as it stands at the moment, the Home Office have said that Premier League and EFL teams in an entire season can only sign a maximum of 6 foreign players. If I remember right, 6 foreign players, 3, so basically 2 in January, 4 in summer, or 3 and 3. 4 and 2. Do you know what I mean? It could be, but yeah. So it can only be a maximum of 3 in each window. So basically three per window. Let me rephrase that. Yeah, it's 3 per window. Rick says, going back to Banks, he said he's not a good referee, to be honest. What I will do with him, I would say go back to the Championship. He lost the game. I did think Villa's coined the ref. They didn't coin him; they conned him in the game. He's been doing it. He's been doing it for about 15 games. Or give him lower league games in the league. Totally agree with you, mate. Tony says, we have always gambled, John. Look at the players we produced and got rid for millions. We should be known as Wheeler Dealer FC. I like that. It's good. Kieran says he was screaming at Banksy. Yeah, totally agreed. Ken says, sounds like that's now reverted to the way it was getting work permits back years ago. It was tough. Yeah, the rules haven't changed, with the exception of obviously EU status. The rules haven't changed. The fact is they've always had to do the same thing with working visas. So the permits, I should say. I mean the same thing basically, but yeah. So whereas now, because we're out of the EU, from literally 3.5 weeks time, they have to, every single player. It's not just us. It's going to be every single club in the whole of the football pyramid. Yeah, from the Premier League all the way through to the EFL clubs as well. They have to adopt this. They have to. It's legislated. It's coming in. So I think it's really, really good. I think it's really, really good. James Gooding says, does that include foreign players signed from English clubs? I don't think it does, mate. We'll have to find out, because obviously when the rules properly come in, the full information will be given, because it was very, very hard to find this, but I did find it. And it was on relatively respectful websites as well. But if they have a current, I wouldn't have thought so, James, just thinking about it, because if they've already got a working visa to play here, deals can be done between clubs. It's as simple as that. If they have to apply for a new one, that might be slightly different. But as I say, we'll have to find out more information, because it's very, very sketchy at the moment, because not a lot of places want people to know about this for some random reason, as it usually is with good news. But also, there's a restriction on foreign managers in the Premier League and the EFL from January as well, which again has gone under the radar. Basically, what would have happened? Now the Times talked about this. Times talked about this, and it's I think the person that ran the article in the Times is actually a I think the bloke who ran the person who ran it on the Times is a Man United supporter, because he's not happy, because he really went on about the fact that under these legislations, which basically says for the majority of European rules, they have to the managers have to manage in the top level 3 out of 5 seasons, which understandable, totally understandable. Where are we? Kent says, does that include foreign players? No, sorry. Does that also include foreign youth players, John? Well, this is the thing, mate. Apologies, I jumped over this. It said, in the Premier League, the number of overseas under 21 players a club can sign will be limited to 3 in January transfer window and 6 per the season moving forward. So apologies, that's where the cap comes in. It's to stop all these court cases, basically. So apologies, and let me reiterate it. So it's only under 21, the junior clubs players will be limited to 3 in the January transfer window and 6 per season moving forwards. This enables the recruitment of the best players from around the world to train and play together with homegrown talent. So yeah, I genuinely, so apologies for that. I do genuinely think that there will be a cap on senior players at some point. I genuinely think they will, because again, it will be better for clubs to bring through lower league players into the Premier League and Championship and all that sort of stuff. Really, really good. So apologies for that, guys. I misread the article, but that's what it's saying. It's the under 21s are restricted to 3 per window. Ben says, be okay for us. We won't sign anybody in January anyway. Well, not necessarily, fella. Not necessarily. But yeah, as I said, for when it comes to appointing foreign managers that should have had to manage at the top level for at least 3 out of 5 seasons, it's a good idea. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to have any better impact in the Championship or the Premier League, because both leagues are totally different to how other leagues are around the world. But it's a start. It's more about homegrown managers, and it's about homegrown players. It's 25 years too late from my point of view, but it's better than nothing. It's absolutely better than nothing. Now, also, apparently the London Stadium, according to the E20 group, is valued at, and this won't be a surprise to anybody whatsoever, but the London Stadium is valued at £1.5 million by the E20 group. Now, I did say many, many times that I genuinely think that the board are going to be buying the stadium and then selling. It looks like that could be the case. That genuinely does look like that's going to be the case now. Again, it's a WHU article, so it does quote into. I'm not going to go through it because it does go into a lot of legal jargon and whatnot, but it does look like, because it's losing so much money, and as a result of it, the Financial Times. I don't read the Financial Times, but this came across in the came across the reason why. Tony, which is the year before, it was valued at 40 million. Yep. Reason why is because Allen and Overy are being sued by the London Stadium owners, as the E20 group and all that sort of stuff, for £12 million, as the stadium is trading at a £6,926 loss for every West Ham game. That is huge. That is a huge amount of money. I mean, all right. So if you think about, I mean, it's a huge amount of money to you and me, of course. But let's have a look at. All right. So if we do that, so let's take it for an average of, on the average of, what is it, 19 games per season, right? And let's do this. So that's 6,926. And let's say, for argument's sake, that we have 2 League Cup games and 2 home games, right? Home FA Cup games. So say that for an argument, because let's face it, guys, that's what it normally is. We normally only get more than a couple. We only get a couple of league games at home, and then that's it. So it's 19. So let's say for 23 home games a season, right? That's £159,298, which doesn't sound a lot, but when you're trading at a loss every single season for what's going to be now 5 seasons, so let's times that by 5, right? That's just over £750,000 that they've lost, and this is and that's before. And that's before COVID, right? That's obviously that's because how much the not being able to have any live games there, concerts, have the baseball there again, the Olympics, such as they were doing, that sort of thing. They are losing a lot of money. I reckon over the 5 years they've lost probably £4 or £5 million, which doesn't sound a lot in football context, but when you're part of the government, £5 million is a lot of money. It is a lot of money. Where was it? £1.5 million, not including the debts and other contracts they need to buy out, like athletics. It could cost a lot more to buy. Exactly, James. That's exactly what I was saying. Ken asked, how much did it cost to build? It was I can't remember the figures. Hang on, let's have a look. London Stadium construction costs. Let's have a look here. I'll literally type it out. So apologies, guys. I might get a bit of. Let's have a look. £486 million. That's how much it cost, Kent, from a quick Google search. £486 million, and that was at the 60,000 capacity stadium. So obviously there's been a few more million bung on top of that to get it to 66. Afterwards and everything else, it's yeah. They are trading at a huge loss. Huge loss. Where are we? Sorry. Kieran says, surely the real estate it sits on is worth worth fortunes. Yeah, the land is, mate, as we say in England. Yeah, the mortgage rate, the property value is what you're talking about. Yeah, worth a shitload of money, but the stadium isn't. There's always your house is always worth less than the land it's on. The land is worth way much more than your house is ever worth. Always has been, always will be. Guys, Tony says, guys, got to go. Unfortunately, have to be up early tomorrow. Great night show, John. Remember, we're here for you. Thank you, Tony. Yep, and thank you very much, mate. Words, that's very nice of you to say so. Have a good evening, fella, if you haven't already left. James says, Kieran, University bought a big chunk of the land. Yeah, they certainly did. So yeah, it makes a big difference, an absolutely huge difference. So what else are we going? And the last thing I wanted to talk about, because we talked about everything else, so we'll go for another couple of minutes, mate, guys, and then I'll have to log off because I say I need to talk to Bill at Garage Football. But shops are going to be given license to open for 24 hours, as probably as of now, for that matter. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. Sorry guys, hang on a second. Some random reason my phone's not accepting my password. My thumbprint, I should say. But yeah, it's very, very interesting on it all, and it's good because it's going to cost shops a fortune to fund in relation to their staffing, but at the same point, it's going to be good for the shops themselves because they will bring in a lot more money. Not a huge amount, but they will bring in a lot more money. But yeah, it could be very, very interesting to do it. But we right, hang on, so I got to sort this out because yeah, Bill sent me the invite to the wrong account, unfortunately. So we'll get that sorted out. But yeah, as I say, it's going to be a lot of money down the drain in many ways. Ben says, remember when Wembley cost an absolute fortune and took about 4 years to build? Yeah, we were denied our FA Cup game, as everybody remembers, the FA Cup final. We were denied that, and also the Championship playoff final the season before. We were denied that as well, sadly. Kent says, nearly $500 million. Oh my god. Yeah. And if only the stadium was built for football from the start. Yeah. James says, I think if Hearn and Levy didn't stop us buying the ground in the first place, the government would have as much egg on their face. Totally agree with you, James. There, mate. 100% agree with you. They screwed it. I've said it many times. I've said it many times. It's the government's issue. It's nothing down to West Ham. West Ham were hardly going to say, actually, no, we're not. You're not charging us enough money. No one's going to do that. Nobody's going to do that when you're trying to build an investment for the future. You know, it's just. Anyway, so, but yeah, it's been a weird one tonight, guys. But as I say, it feels very, very strange doing this. But yeah, thank you very much for your time, guys. It's always great to talk to you. So I'm only cutting it short because Bill's going live at 8. Bill and everyone else on Garage Football are going live at 8 o'clock. So I don't want to be coming in late because we normally, as everybody knows, we normally overrun, shall we say? We normally overrun on these things. So guys, thank you very, very much for your time. And as I say, I'm very, very grateful to everybody that's kept us at 1,700 subscribers, and thank you very much. We've got a great community here in the live chat as always. As everybody comes back to normal, I will still, it'd be difficult to keep doing the weeklies once I get back to work normally and everything like that. But until then, guys, we'll be doing this every single Wednesday as much as possible, unless I have a really, really bad lapse, which I haven't had so far. So I'm all right with that. James says, the offices in the area near bars and pubs will be making a good chunk of money. back from people by booze afters. That's the only people I see doing well out the 24-hour opening times. Yep, very possibly, mate. But in the meantime, guys, thank you very much for your time. If you're new to the channel, because there've been a few new people, at least a couple of new faces in here, then by all means, please do subscribe and like this video if you haven't already done so. Because I know a lot of you guys have enjoyed it. But in the meantime, guys, the preview for Man United is available on YouTube by 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, so go and watch that. Give me your thoughts in the comment section below. Not a lot of people have been saying if they agree with my starting 11s or not. So by means, if you don't, let me know, and if you do, let me know. But in the meantime, guys, thank you much for your time. Thank you very much for your support as always, and especially to Rick, Tony, Andy Miles, and Wally Well for your financial support with Patreon. It's not a huge amount of money, but every little helps. So in the meantime, guys, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you live at 5:25 on Saturday for the Man United watch along. All the best.